Hey everyone, and welcome to the Build Insite Podcast. My name is Luke. I'll be your host today. Last episode we've got today over in Adelaide, joined by my co-host Dean, who's flown over from Melbourne, and we've got Mick from U2U Productions behind the camera and producing behind the mics over there. Last guest for the afternoon, I'd like to welcome Matt Warner from Built Structural. I have had the pleasure of knowing Matt for a little while now as our structural steel contractor for my building company, Calorie Building. Matty, welcome to the Build Insite Podcast.
Thank you very much. So I'm glad to finally get the call up, and it's good to be here. It's always good fun. So good to come in and have a chat with you boys and see how she goes.
Thanks for joining us, Matty. I obviously don't work with you, so I don't know as much about you, but I've heard awesome things. Mate, I'll let you dive into how you got started, but I hear you were a carpenter and thought you've got to make something happen here, and tell us how that all happened. Yeah,
so first fix carpenter for about 20 odd years, probably 19 if you want to get technical. I don't think I wanted to get to 20 years. The body was already a little bit tired, and I was starting to drift away a little bit from those sites, and I really did enjoy going to a building site. So it got to a bit of that point. It's probably, I could read some rough numbers. I think we got up to about 2,000 frames from apprenticeship to the end. So that it got through a few and pretty repetitive. And then I'd tried a few things. I had a few businesses. I had worked with my sister on a property management company, had a project management company with another fella, building maintenance company, building inspection company. And I worked out that just getting through those, I didn't overly enjoy them too much. So I said, no, that's fine. I can do one thing really well. I don't need 4 companies running at once. So I just started some stuff, did pretty well, and then just closed them down or sold them back to the other director or moved them on. And then I was still looking for something, and I knew I was looking for something. And so I just kept my eye out for an opportunity. And I remember I did the steel work on my house, and I still remember where I was standing, and I looked at a job and looked at the steel work on the job, and I said, you know what, I could probably do that. So I thought, let's give that a go, ran some numbers, and I'm like, okay, well, I can probably make this work, and did all the working out logistics of that. And then I had every license to do it except for I needed a boilie. And then my brother-in-law said that my business partner Ben was out on his own doing his thing. So I gave him a call and said, hey, I want to do this. He goes, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, well, let's go have a chat at the pub, and had a beer and got going, and it worked out really well. And coincidentally, we had everything ready to go, and then you're always looking for that first job. And I still remember it as well because it's just the steel didn't get supplied. A beam got missed on a job that I was doing as a carpenter. So I rang him up and said, I'll get it done. Are you all right for me to do it? And they said, yep, let's do that. And I rang up Ben. I was like, super excited. I'm like, hey, we got one. And it, in the scheme of things now, it's very, very small. However, it's not the point. And it's good to get a run on the board, to get out of the crease. And and he drilled it all up and cut it and had it all sorted and painted, and I basically ran out there and helped him finish it off and ran it out in my trailer the next day, and up she went. And it was good. It's good.
First one. You always remember your first one, they say.
Yeah.
I think, Matt, from my personal experience on using you guys, I think the dynamic of you having the carpentry experience and bringing that into the structural steel game, was there an element that you thought that, because I know some earlier contractors that we used, steel rocks up on site and there's either cleats and brackets that aren't right, or there's no holes where you need them. I've noticed definitely in particular, I think it's from your experience, needing to bolt timber to steel on site. Is that kind of what you think separated you a little bit from that?
For over 130 years, Bowen's has been the builder's choice, providing a service that provides timber, hardware and innovative building products.
And now we're helping you further with this wonderful partnership.
We're proud to announce Bowen's as our new premier sponsor, bringing you more of the insights that you love. Build Insight, together with Bowen's.
Real people,
real insights.
I think Yeah, along the lines of that. And sometimes it's just put the holes in, even if they don't use it sometimes, because the callback or coming back to put it in after is a pain, and no one wants to do it. So we try to put it in at the start. It's all we can get all that stuff processed anyway. So, yeah, there's a couple of extra dollars on our side of things, but you don't have a issue callback, etc. You just got to be careful for the bits that are seen. Next minute you got 10, 12 mil, 40 mil holes in the thing. I think our advantage as well as comes in is that a drafting team can ask me a lot of the questions and go, how is this going to work inside of a residential home? Getting over those few little tweaks here and there is good, and I think we have a lot less questions going back to the builder about how this is actually meant to be built, whereas we can answer a lot of that in-house.
Yep. I love that idea. I've been fortunate enough in Melbourne and Victoria to work with the one steel manufacturer for a long time. We've become good mates, and I've got a good insight to it. But let's dive into that a little bit, Matt. Like, I love that concept that you're a carpenter. You think about the connections and make sure it's there correctly. But let's talk about from the start. You get a set of plans, maybe your builder's on site, you get a site measure done. What's some of your processes and systems to ensure that you've taken an engineer and design, and then where it gets to an install on site?
Yeah, I think that mainly applies when you're coming into, say, a reno, because the plans are pretty good to, most of the time you can just use them to get the body of the home, and then fundamentally, depends on who drafted. Some are very good architects, etc. You can almost throw some of them out the window and go, let's meet you on site, and then we'll just tweak it, move it here and there, because the renos are fundamentally difficult. They've got moving parts, things fall off, things bounce around. So you've got to then work and then look, as best of it, you cut something out, something else falls off, and then you need to kind of adapt to, okay, well, we can just send the beam in a little bit further into the pocket there and deal with that there, and it makes no real difference on our side of things. We can just adapt and change and solve those problems like, hey, just push it out a bit further so we can pick up that last truss. Silly little things like that. I think we're very good at. And I can certainly, just coming out into site, and I enjoy it as well, problem solving, coming out and go, how are we going to actually build this? One, how do we get the steel out the back of the house? And then two, or are we going over the top of the roof? And just working it out from there, which is good. So it certainly does help. I was on a job yesterday where there was a transition in ceiling heights, and it didn't really reflect that on the plans, but old to new, just had to come up with a solution on site and just go, well, let's just do it this way, and you'll get the result that you're looking for. It's more asking them first, what result are you looking for? I just wanted to come across here, transition down to here. I'm happy for a bulkhead here. Sweet. Let's
Working
do that.
through it. Yep.
Matt, I'm keen to know a little bit about, obviously, the size and the scale of what Built Structural is now. When it was first an idea with you and Ben to collaborate and come up with it, did you see it would get to this point, or did you have bigger visions for this? Being a multi-award-winning business now, winning some personal, professional awards yourself as well. What were some of the challenges in the early days, and was this the direction you always wanted to go?
Yeah, it was interesting. Me and Ben spoke about this only 3 weeks ago, something like that. And it certainly grew, and it grew fast. There was a little bit of timing, but then obviously skills in industry that helped us grow it to where we wanted it to be. Where it is now, it's certainly got a lot of momentum, especially in the last couple of years. Well, in the last coming up to 4 years, it's been a hell of a lot of momentum coming through.
Was that when you started 4 years ago?
Yeah, just under 4.
Is that all?
Yeah, just under 4. So that's it's been a pretty good ride, and we've had a lot of staff coming, not a lot go, but we've plenty have gone. We've had a lot of people in. Then you attract some good people, and they certainly help a lot. When you really have some good hires, goes a long way, and then it helps grow the team, help be what it is. But no, it's certainly there are. It's good to be, I we're a good sized company, and it's good to be recognised inside the industry as a good company. You certainly have you'll always still have your for fuck's sake moments, and with that's just growing pains really, and you just there hasn't been something we haven't been able to solve pretty quickly. So you just get on with it, get going, and move through pretty quick. But yeah, no, it's been certainly a bit of a ride, and but I think it's grown at a pace that we've managed quite easily.
It's just going back, Matt. Like you've come from near on 20 years working with timber.
Yep.
To then brand new company getting off the ground, albeit with I think you said your business partner was a Boilermaker.
Yeah.
So obviously got that there, but you specifically, mate, was there some specific challenges or learning curves you had to go through dealing with the steel industry compared to packs of timber rocking up on site?
Dino, so I rocked up to site last week, got scratched bench tops, paint all over the windows.
Let me guess, Lukey. No good?
No good. And now we're spending big bucks trying to fix it.
Mate, Goop Guys roll on a thick, peelable protective coating that saves your surfaces.
And your budget.
And your sanity, Lukey.
Seriously, check them out. goopguys.com.au. Protect your job from the start.
Oh, absolutely. The packs of timber on site, you can cut and shut and make things work. If you're bringing steel to site that's not absolutely perfect, it's a pain. And so you learn quick to really dot your I's, cross your T's in that space. There are certainly things that timber and steel do together. Like steel has issues. It can be bowed, it can be curved, it can be twisted, it can be dented. All those type of things, exactly the same as the way timber can be. So you just got to make sure the team's pretty good. So I've had to learn that. You're like, no, it's still straight. It's fundamentally not. It's especially if you cook a whole bunch of heat into it, she'll twist and distort very quickly. So I've learnt all those bits and pieces about steel, and I had to very quickly. And Ben, my business partner, is a brilliant operator, so I've learnt a lot from him of how steel works. But even in drafting, working it out, pre-working all your problems out before you get to site, because as a carpenter, sometimes you can put something up, you can put a wall up, you can visualize it from there, and you kind of work your way out of it. With steel, you really need to design it from almost all visual and feeling of how it's going to work on site. And so, yeah, I've certainly had to learn that you want to get it right. And but the business side of things is business is business fundamentally. You're still dealing with people. You're still dealing with a whole range of personalities from internal, external, and just trying to put it all together to make it grow. But like boilies are completely different to carpenters, and then you've got site guys who are different to warehouse manufacturing, and then you've got drafties who are different, can be a different personality to the rest of them again, and then you've got sales guys who are different again. It's all those different personalities work together, and just trying to bring that all together is good. Yep. It's good fun.
Might be a little bit of a hot topic here, but I've got my opinion on this. Should engineers have to go to site and learn how to work with structural materials before they can design it?
Look, in life, you're never going to learn less. So the more time an engineer gets to spend on site, the larger the skill base they will have. However, fundamentally, no, you do get some really good engineers, and then you get some that I've dealt with a lot of engineers that have given us something that completely doesn't work. There's certainly a number of times they've given us, you need this structural detail. Well, fundamentally, that's not going to work because there's no client in the world that's going to accept a cleat hanging out of square set cornice. It's not a thing. Or bolts hanging out of gyprock. It's not a thing. So we kind of work within their parameters and go, we understand that you want a 10 mil plate, 12 mil plate, 3 M16 bolts to fix the thing and just load the steel up. Like, yeah, correct. All right, great. So we can make that detail work just in a very slightly different way just to get it over the line because, hey, this isn't going to work. This is another option. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I love our engineers. I think the great ones I've come across in my time is the ones that are willing to listen to site teams, builders, designers, and the structural companies that are like, well, this is what we could do instead to make it work with the design or save money for the client. It's a big part of it.
There's certainly saving money for a client is you can get some that just like you have not thought about the client here at all, and you like there's zero cares. However, I rang a builder once and said to me, he's like, he kept trying to save money. I'm just like, I would get a new engineer. I said, you have the heaviest steel in the residential game in South Australia that I've ever seen on every one of your jobs. I said, this is insane. Yeah. And they're like, no, we've been using it for a long time. I'm like, cool, try someone else.
Yeah.
And I said, you keep trying you want to save some dollars, start here. And it makes no difference to me. Like, it's a hell of a lot easier. However, you
want to spend that money, you spend that money.
You spend the money. Hey, if you do want to go that big, great, go for it. I got no problems. I'll put up whatever you tell me. Like, if it's a massive steel beam, let's just go. But I think where you're going is natural human nature and human education and growth is always coming better when you're listening more than talking. So I think everyone could probably take a leaf out of that book and learn to listen a little bit more. I've certainly I've got heaps of people on my team that are better at what I do. And so, listening to them, talking to them, go, hey, what's your opinion? I'm not necessarily going to do it, but at the same time, I can factor that in, or 6 months down the track and go, you know what, this is a good time to use that. Let's do it now. So you just keep asking questions and put your best foot forward.
Matt, I want to circle back to the conversation you were mentioning about you've obviously got different moving parts in your business, different personalities. How, I guess, from where you've started out to now employing a pretty significant amount of people, how have you gone about actually managing obviously different stresses in the business? People management is a big one, implementing some new systems and things like that. How have you managed the growth?
We are absolutely thrilled to announce that Circus Studio are coming on board as a major sponsor and supporter of Build Insite. Circus Studio is Australia's leading interior design centre. If you're an architect, building designer, interior designer, builder, or just looking to build your dream home, you need to make a time and come in and check out the space here in Port Melbourne. This space holds every element that you'll possibly need to design your dream home.
Understanding people's values can be quite important because what somebody might be interested in taking more holidays than another person, and then go, but understand that at the start and go like, this person really loves to dive into the detail. Okay, well, how do we manage that? That's okay. It's great. It's going to save you a lot of times. But however, how do you manage that person's personality to then use it to your advantage so the team benefits from that? And then while someone else might be a bit blasé with the detail and just throw things together or design things casually or just be a bit more relaxed about that. So trying to find the right personality for the right role is obviously very key. But managing it, you think you might have it right, and then it will change on you 2 seconds later. And but fundamentally, everyone comes to work for a reason. Some is money, some experience, some is they want a career. Some people like working with the people that they are working with, so just trying to work that out and trying to allow enough room for the people to grow into their role, as well as trying to keep the company going in the fundamental right direction.
And I guess, mate, with going back to your carpentry days, was there...
You're right.
I was going to say.
Having a bit of a glitch.
What happened before? Sorry, mate.
You back on?
I had a question in mind and half forgot.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyone watching this, we'll probably leave that in there because Matt was talking about some interesting stuff there. It said a bit of a glitch. My microphone fell off the side of the table.
Sorry, mate. What I was getting at there, Matt, was with your carpentry days, framing, you're dealing with a team, working in together. So obviously, as you could take out of those days into the business, it takes all types, and everyone gets motivated by different things, like you just covered. But what are some things you've had to learn with dealing with maybe some of the elements, your design, people, and so forth, that you might not have had the experience working with that group of people, and maybe their thought process is a bit different to what someone who's working on a job site is? Is there some things there you've learnt from the HR point of view?
Yeah, well, HR point of view is a lot different. Because in carpentry, I think the oldest lad's normally about 23, 24, maybe 25. Before they may want to go out and start their own carpentry company. So you've got all the young boys, and they're having a good time. And half of them go drinking on the weekends with each other, and then half the times you find them, because they're friends with another fella, coincidentally they're all 16, 17, 18 coming up through. They're at a footy club. So, it's good. It makes Christmas shows really easy. So you can just go, party with the boys pretty much. And so then moving into more office-based staff. So from design point of view, the real good ones that really do consider how this goes together on site, because we've done it strategically, is of having in-house drafting, our own drafting team. There's 6 in the drafting team, and because if questions come back going, hey, where's this reference line taken, especially in a renovation, I was just on one, and it's referenced off the house, but a renovation on a house is from 60 years ago is out of square. It always is. So trying to work that in, go, hey, I need a reference point off this. Can you tell me what's off this? Maybe we can work it back this way. And the good ones will take those calls personally and kind of go, I'm trying to avoid calls back to myself and to solve those problems. So they really do, I think my team really do consider how things go together on site. And we like to put extra dimensions in. We like to put just other reference points to try and solve the problem, so we don't need to go through 20 different documentations trying to find it. We do a lot of we do things like we upgrade most fixings, so some engineers will put like 16 or 20 mil structural assemblies. We'll just make them all 20, unless it's obviously greater, but that covers that. The stud anchors are all 16 because some people use 12. It's like, we can just upgrade it. We can just make it move fast. So they're the things we try and help the site guys with. So they don't even almost have to check really. So it's, but yeah, on site, everything's practical, everything's hands-on, as you guys know. And then in the office, everything's theory-based. You're looking at lines on a paper page or CAD or a model, or if you're actually quite good now that we're getting full 3D models, IFC models of a building that we can build our steel into. So we know if there's a clash, we know if there's bolts hanging out, there's cleats hanging out. We know that in advance, which does make things a lot easier. But from a design point of view, it's trying to put something together that's going to help the site guys with all the as best knowledge that you have and what you have in front of you.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of part 1 of episode 47. If you want to find out more about Build Insite, head over to buildinsite.com.au. Over on the website, you'll find links to previous podcast episodes, as well as links to our YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.
We just need to say a massive thank you to our sponsors and supporters. Without them, Build Insite wouldn't be possible. So to Bowens, Circus Studio, Wonderbuild, Goop Guys, Calorie Building, and Backman Builders, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Let's cue the disclaimer. I need to let you know that myself and the Build Insite team are in no way, shape or form qualified to give you personal or specific business advice. We strongly encourage you seek out the use of professionals for products or when you are making personal or business decisions. Everything discussed during the Build Insite podcast is our own and the guest opinion and personal experience and is of a general nature only. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.